Now, the Crystal Wyvern is probably one of my favourite Ark dinos, and the Blood Crystal Wyvern specifically is the one which I have preference to because of that insane blood sucking ability and just the damage it does. Because, you know, the Blood Crystal Wyvern is the coolest Crystal Wyvern, and we just have an amazing feature with this Wyvern. So I'm talking all things Crystal Wyverns today because I want to talk about just how good Crystal Wyverns are, because I personally prefer them a lot to the normal Wyvern varieties, and the main reason for that really is because that these Wyverns offer a lot more variety than any of the other Wyverns. While the traditional poison Wyverns, lightning Wyverns, fire Wyverns, ice Wyverns, whatnot, you know, they are cool and interesting in their own ways. They're all pretty traditional, whereas the Crystal Wyverns have their own spin on things, where you've got the Tropical Crystal Wyvern, obviously, with the water abilities, and then you've got things like the Blood Crystal Wyvern with their blood abilities, their blood fire. It's an absolutely it's a mental creature, to be honest. Now, it's not like, oh my god, this is absolutely game changing, because it is pretty much a Wyvern reskin. But Wyverns are still great creatures. The only thing that they aren't great at is turning circles, even though the turning circles are a lot better on the Crystal Wyverns than the normal Wyverns, at least I find. And they're still really speedy flyers. Of course, Wyverns are some of like the fastest straight ahead flyers, yes, with abilities that you get on things like snow owls and griffins. They can go faster because they've got their glides, but the Wyverns just like straight ahead flying like this are great. And there's another fellow Crystal Wyvern, and the good thing is they're nice and passive as well. And the taming method is, of course, a passive one. You've got to be level 65, and then you've got to get the specific crystal to tame these things, but it's a passive tame and it works like that. And personally, I really like that way of taming Wyverns. It's sort of, you know, if you've watched How to Train Your Dragon or something like that, and you go around and you're going to go and take out that dragon, not take out the dragon, tame the dragon, even befriend the dragon. You know, it's that sort of thing. And while you don't do it with fish or meat, you do it with specific crystal. It makes sense. They are Crystal Wyverns. You can expect them to love crystal, and the fact that they're so built into the map, like it's literally called Crystal Isles and they're Crystal Wyverns, it's absolutely amazing. And I love it that it's so integrated into the map. And with maps like Ragnarok and Scorched Earth, yes, the Wyverns are cool, and obviously you've got the Ice Wyverns coming up from Ragnarok and then all the other Wyverns, but it's not as built up as in Crystal Isles, in my opinion. Like, the map is based around these Wyverns, and you know, you've got these crystal shores here, which is where the Tropical Wyverns live, and then you've got regions over there where, you know, more Blood Crystal Wyverns live, and you've got all of these designated areas for Crystal Wyverns, and the fact that they're just everywhere and flying around is great. Like, if you think of Wyverns, you think of them as really hostile creatures that live in trenches in terms of Ark, and you know, you've got to steal their eggs and then raise them, and you know, in a way I sort of don't have time for that. Like, in a normal session, like, it takes ages to get through to get a Wyvern, because you've got to raise the eggs, and then, you know, you've got to go through all of the process and then getting milk and things like that, even though often I don't get it and I just crank the rates up and then skip all things imprinting because I can't be bothered with it. And then, unless I'm doing a designated session, let's say a designated session of like breeding or something, or raising creatures, most of the time the Wyverns just don't come out as I like them. You can see that there's a wild Blood Crystal Wyvern over there, a fellow Blood Crystal Wyvern, but I'm gonna leave that Crystal Wyvern over there. But I always am left feeling a little bit unsatisfied, and with these things I can tame them up in a session easily. You could basically like sit where I'm sitting right now on the back of the Wyvern, and then just keep feeding crystal. It is annoying when you fall off. Bring some parachutes and track it along, but it's not that bad, and it's not too much of a hassle. You've got to be over level 65, yeah, but these things are Wyverns, and with an Explore Note run, it really doesn't take that long to get over that level. And you know, you've got your basic bite ability, and then you've got your blood fire, and then you've got the sea ability, which is just picking up things, and it picks up anything that, you know, any normal Wyvern would pick up. If you sort of think of the Maywing and Mayguana, it's a little bit like that, except I feel like it's a little bit cooler than that scenario. The Mayguana is a literal direct reskin. Like, this is a bit fire wyvern-y in a way. Like, they've got fire breathing, normal damage, and then they can pick up things, and they can pick up reasonably sized things. Obviously these Brontos aren't going to get picked up. Look, if I go over here, it's not going to pick up a Bronto, of course. But going around, look, you see we've got some parasaurs down here. If I could actually aim the pickup, I should be able to pick up a parasaur like that pretty easily, and then you can go to town on it, or not. There we go, 3,304 damage. So you can do all of that, and that is absolutely amazing coming from the Wyvern. Like, you know, they can pick up loads of things. Now, it's not as much as something like the Rhino Ganatha, and it does go for normal Wyverns as well, but I think it goes what I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make of this video is that Crystal Wyverns are amazing, and I think you should love Crystal Wyverns. And the Blood Crystal Wyvern is my favourite. Comment down below your favourite Crystal Wyvern below, because I just love the blood abilities. They are fantastic, and the colour scheme is great. It's much more interesting than a Fire Wyvern. I prefer the taming method, and I prefer how they're integrated into the map. They can pick up a good range of creatures, and on top of all of that, they are just really easily wieldy and good for going around places. So that's all I really have to say about the Blood Crystal Wyvern. But I want to know your thoughts on the Crystal Wyvern. I want to know, because they come up a lot in my top 10 videos, Crystal Wyverns, and you know, I want to write home about that these things are fantastic, and while they can't go underwater because it's a Wyvern, they're still pretty good. And I'm going to show you the damage of these things here. I know this is a really high level, it's because my worlds aren't synced up, but if I can actually attack, okay, that was a one hit. It's perhaps a little bit unfair, but you know, if you scale that down, it's like 330 damage for a level 150, so that would be a level 225 once raised up if you're thinking traditional tame methods. So that's pretty good going, to be honest, especially considering Wyvern levels are higher to start off the bat, so you can easily get a 400 damage Wyvern if you're playing on normal difficulty, especially considering this hasn't had any leveling up in terms of the damage department, unless I did it just randomly earlier. But you know, if I crank the damage a little bit, let's just crank that just a tad and come over here, like just smite the Diplo, 5,000 damage. Like, it scales very, very quickly on this thing. And then we can come around here for this Paraceratherium, and that's 6,434 damage. So, you know, the rates are a little bit insane on my other world, but that's besides the point. When you've all got level 1,500 creatures, it scales pretty well, to be honest. And we're even full in terms of our inventory. We're not encumbered, but we've got so many stacks of meat. Like, if we look at this, it's all the primate that doesn't stack. I should put my primate stack mod on. I did not for this video, but either way, that's what I've got to say about the Crystal Wyvern. I'm gonna park it down here and look at this thing's magnificent face. This is, yeah, it's a level 2,260 at the moment. Blood Crystal Wyvern is my favourite. Crystal Wyverns, I think, deserve a little bit more respect. I can't wait for them to be in ASA when Crystal Isles releases for ASA. And I want to know your thoughts on Crystal Wyvern, and if they're better than the normal Wyverns or not. So, thank you to my wonderful patrons, Katerina Puchkova, Karina Thorne, Dominic Mesijewski, and Ethan Tapia, who have all supported me through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. If you want to join this list, then go join Patreon or YouTube members. But thanks to all of these guys.